Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee and welcome to this card making tutorial. Today we're going to be making this lovely fun fold or fancy fold card, and it's like a star gatefold card or diamond staple gatefold card, and that's how it works, like that. Really fun. Now this wasn't my idea. A fellow demo has made this and I've used some of her measurements and then of course made it my own with my own paper and cardstock colour combinations. So let me show you how to make it. There is quite a lot of die cutting involved, and not die cutting, cardstock involved. I'm going to go through all the pieces right now. Okay, so our card base here is 4 inches by 10 inches, and that's in Pool Party this time. And then I've got some other pieces in Pool Party, and let me go through them quickly. So I've got 3 here and they measure 4 inches by 4 inches, so I've got 3 of those. I then have some pieces in that I'm going to mat on in Daffodil Delight, and these I think are 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch. 3 3/4 I should say rather. Let me just see here. 3 3/4, yes. So I've got 3 of those. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of Daffodil Delight. These pieces measure 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. Now I should say all these measurements will be on the blog post, and you can find the link to that in the description box below. So don't worry about trying to take it all down now. I then have 1 piece of basic white cardstock, and this is easy. This is going to be 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then I've got some pieces of designer series paper, 1 in one pattern and 2 in another. And these pieces are 3.5 by 3.5. And then I've got a piece here by 3.5 by 1.5 in 2 different patterns again. And then I should say I've got my last piece of Pool Party, and this also measures 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So let's get started with all of these pieces. I'm going to be doing some scoring. So I'm going to start off here with my card base. I'm going to bring in my score tool, or my trimmer, and we are going to score. So our first score line is at 2 inches. So remember, your light grey blade is your scoring blade, and then we're going to do it 4 inches, and then at 8 inches. So I need to extend my arm here. Okay, that's all our scoring done. So I'm going to fold on our score lines. As you can see here, these first 2 are going to be mountain folds, and the second one is going to be a valley fold. So this is going to be another valley fold here. Now it looks a little bit lopsided, and there's a reason for that. We need to add a little extra piece here, and this is what this piece here is for. Okay, and this is going to give us our extra fold, and we should have scored this as well in at 2 inches. So let me just quickly do that. I'm going to fold that like a mountain. Now you can add this either on top or behind. You can see here I've done mine, can't actually tell here, done mine on top and added this in. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Just take some glue, if you have 12 by 12 cardstock you don't need to do this, but I don't have 12 by 12 on my thicker cardstock. A lot of us don't, so this is an easy way around to to solve the issue now. Just make sure you don't go over your score line, but up against the score line, but not over it. Okay, so then you will find, I'll bring these two in together. Ta-da! That's the start of our gatefold card. Okay, so now we can start to mat and layer some pieces here. So I'm going to start actually with the back here and get this out of the way, and we're going to put down this nice piece of Daffodil Delight, nice and bright and summery. Okay, so let's put that there. And then we want our piece of basic white that we cut. Where is it? It's hiding from me. Here it is. And I'm just going to put some glue on the back there. And put that on the back. And that's perfect for writing our message. So let's do some more of the mats here. These two are for not matting, so we want our Daffodil Delight pieces, our big squares, as you can see here. And we're going to put one of these in the centre here. So let's do that. And then I've got my pieces here of pattern paper. And I think I want to have one of these here in the centre. Okay. Lovely, just like that. And now we're going to do our side bits. So let's just move on and do these quickly. You've got 4 of these. Now, do you like to make fun fold cards? Is this something you enjoy doing? We will have different styles of cards. I tend to share one fun fold card a month on my channel. So if you enjoy those cards, make sure you are subscribed and you hit that notification bell to be alerted every time I load. I usually load videos twice a week. At the moment I'm rushing to try and get videos out because I'm way behind on my normal filming schedule. Unfortunately, life has definitely thrown me quite a number of curveballs at the moment. Right, let's see. Let's put down a pattern paper. I love this pattern, and I don't think I've said this is the beautiful ordinary designer series paper. Isn't it gorgeous? I really like it. And then we can have this pattern of on the 2 inside pieces. You can have the same pattern on all of them, but just thought to vary it a little bit. And these colours that I've got are all colours from the collection. So that's good. It's a really nice, bright and fun paper. Right, so that's what we've got so far. I love how that looks, so let's set that aside over there and we'll work on the rest. So I've got 2 of these big pool party pieces and 2 more yellow mats, so let's stick these down There's a lot of sticking on this card, if you hadn't realised. A lot. So make sure you've got plenty of glue available. Alright. There's that one. And one of them I'm going to have one pattern, and then one of them I'm going to have the other. Okay, so let's put this down, and then this one I'm going to use this one. Okay. So this is going to be the easy one. So this is going to be my outside piece. So I need to cut it in half, point to point. So let's move these bits aside. Give me space for my trimmer. We're just going to literally line up the points in the track and cut it in half, point to point. Remember, you want your dark grey point. Lovely. It hasn't cut all the way through, but now you are cutting through two pieces of cardstock and a piece of designer series paper, so make sure that you press nicely like that. Okay, so we've cut them, as you can see, point to point, and then just going to leave those aside. Now this one we need to do a little bit of measuring before we can cut it. This is going to go on the inside of our card. You want it to be roughly centered, so I'm going to flip this to the other side here, just so I've got my inches in the middle. It'll be a bit easier for me. So this is 6 inches. I'm just going to eyeball it roughly to make sure I've got roughly about the same sticking at the top and the bottom, which I think is right about. Make sure I stay on the 6-inch line there, and I also want to make sure it's going to be along here on the 2-inch line. So if I put this into the corner and take my ruler, line it up to 2 inches, make sure it's straight. I can see this needs to come down. Just a little bit, roughly to about there. Okay, so that should be roughly centered. Now there are lots of ways to do this, and I've tried various ways and I get stuck, so I'm just doing it this way for now, and that should be it. So I am going to use a pencil, and I am going to hold that in place just as I move it, because I'm that kind of a twit. I'm actually going to get my other ruler out so I don't have to move this one. And I'm just going to make a pencil mark very gently where I want to cut there, and then it won't matter because it should be centered on there. And then I'm going to turn this round and see whether it lines up with my score lines. You can always take a bit away, but you can't add on. And I think that's going to line up nicely. Right, let me put this away instead of trying to have everything out on my table and then I can't find anything. Right, so now you can either cut this by hand with the scissors, or you can use the trimmer. I'm going to go for my scissors. I just find it easier. Okay, If any pencil mark is showing after you finish cutting, you can just rub that out. Let's get rid of these little bits here. And I am going to just take my, looking for a rubber. Seems a bit of a weird rubber, but anyway. That doesn't work very well, does it? Such a big holder on it. Anyway, it'll do. Right. So let's stick this down and see whether we need to cut any more off. And we do. We need to cut a tiny bit off. And just cut off a tiny smidgen off each side. And I'm just going to do this by hand. As you can see, it's just a hair's breadth. And just a tiny bit of the other side, just to keep it even. But you can see it really is just fine bits. So let's have a look now. Push that in there. You could just take off a tiny bit more. It is better to take off too little and then just fine tune it. That should definitely do it. Yep, well, that does it. Okay, so we're going to stick this down now, sort of eyeball the top and bottom. Just going, and I've made a mistake here. I'm sure you can see what I've done. And the reason I've made a mistake is that I'm filming this late at night and I've been going at it all day and I'm just not thinking, so I need to shouldn't have put glue at the top of these points. Oh well, we will get it. Just wipe it off. And if it doesn't want to come totally, a good way to get glue off is you can use a glue eraser, or if you're lazy like me, just use the powder tool. And there, no sticky anymore. So that's all we've got so far. So now we're going to work on our outside points, and they're going to come together just like this here. I'm just going to match them over the point that I've got, making sure my patterns meet. And then again I'm going to keep the glue in the centre here. See if this one works any better. Yeah, it does. I think this one's had it. So let's put this down. You don't want it to go over your fold line. And then we're just going to put the other one down. That's better. Matching those patterns, and then it should still stand up It does. It's always the proof is in the pudding. So that's really cool. Now set that aside. We're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I need some scraps of basic white cardstock. Find something. Here is something. I'm going to use two different stamp sets. The first one is Words and Wishes. And we're going to use Happy Birthday here. So let me get out a block. I'm just going to do Happy Birthday. I'm going to just use my grid paper to line everything up nicely. Didn't want to line up. Ugh, you know, it's one of those days I'm having where nothing wants to go right, but I'm determined to keep filming, to keep on trying. I'm just going to do it across the diagonal where I have the most space. I'm going to use Pool Party ink. And let's see what we've got. Yeah, that'll do. I'll take that. So give that a clean. And then I'm going to put these back in their home, otherwise I'll never find them again. Put this back. Okay, so that was Words and Wishes. Next I'm going to move on to Batik Blossoms. I'm just going to, I'm not going to fill this in, I'm just going to do the outline. I'm going to just lovely, give that a good clean. And let's close this up, otherwise something will fall in it for sure. Put this back in the home. Now the sentiment I'm just going to chop using my scissors, but the floral I will punch out. So let's just separate these two and let's just cut this and hope for the best. Yeah, that'll do. Happy birthday. Alright. Let's find a floral, not a floral, let's find a punch. I should have got this out earlier, but I didn't. This is the 2 3/8 punch. That's fine. Okay, let's move that out the way. And let's bring in our card. We're going to stick this down. So, let me... And then you can stick this to whichever side you want. I'm going to go for this side again. Make sure it's the right way up, and I'm only going to put glue on half of it, otherwise you'll never open your card again. Go to the middle roughly, stick it down, and there we go. This is your star or diamond gatefold card. So there you've got your first one here, stands up. There is the second one. So I hope you've enjoyed this video showing you how to make this star gatefold card. featuring the beautiful Ordinary Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up. If you want any more information about the project, the measurements, the supply list, etc., everything is on my blog post, and you can find the link to that in the description box below, as well as all my social media links. So thank you for watching, and as I said, if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the like. It means an awful amount to a small channel like my own. So thank you again, until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye.